So I'm a little close, but I'm just gonna go ahead and give you something because I've been putting it off and looking for the perfect situation, and instead of waiting, I'm just gonna send it to you. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about different diets and healthy eating, so I'm gonna turn on a podcast for macro-free living. There's two people, it's an interview, and I'll take those off so you can see my expressions. Okay. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. I'll turn it all the way up. And not ideal, so we're gonna go with it. I wanna start. Let's just start.
Yeah. And so was it sort of like this moment of, wait, I don't want to live this life? Or did it kind of work up to, oh my gosh, I'm a hot mess, I need to change something? Like, what was that transition like for you when you just said, enough's enough, I got to change this?
I think it was like I was eating a certain way and I was trying really hard to restrict, but then I would still have days where it's like I would just eat all the things, or I'd like go off keto, and it's just like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't working for my body. And it's also like not the way that I want to live my life, because I was still obsessed. Even though I was eating keto then, I was still obsessed with body image and food and like the way that I was eating and how I showed up in the world, if that makes sense, like the way my body looked and the things that I was eating, and this exact meal has to be this exact way. And it's like, I don't want to put so much energy into these things. Like, I don't have enough time for that. And just like realizing life is so much bigger than this. There's so many other things in the world that I feel like I'm meant to do. And it's like definitely not tracking my calories. It's like definitely not tracking my carbohydrates. And I still feel like I'm meant to eat a low carb diet just because of my health issues, but there's a way that I can do that doesn't require, it's more like intuitive eating for me. It doesn't require being like having my phone out at all times and like having like a scale in the kitchen. Like, I can do that with just being in tune with my body, and that feels way more natural and like just way more in tune with the way that I want to live my life. Because when I was eating keto that way, the way where I was tracking everything, it made me like obsessive and crazy about food, and that just like, it felt very in line with like my eating disorder ways, and like that's just not, like I said, it's not the way that I want to live.
Mm-hmm. So you decide that this isn't the way you want to live, and you're tracking everything. Did you quit cold turkey? Was it like day 0 this, day 1 something else? Or did you transition over slowly? Because I think a lot of people hear this and they're like, I could never, like, oh my gosh, Rachel's so brave, I could never do this.
I think I transitioned over slowly. Like, there were times when I still wanted to look up like how many carbs, like, and occasionally I'll still do that. Like, I'll look on my phone, like I'll Google like how many carbs are in something, and like that's okay. Like, I'm just curious. And during that time when I was more heavily tracking, like I would maybe like track some meals, but like not others. And it was just like a process of like phasing out. But at that time, I think I was able to phase out more quickly in some ways, because I had luckily not been tracking for a super long time when I was doing keto. So I kind of just like did it for a while, and then I stopped doing it because I realized it didn't work for me. But for anybody who's like curious about not tracking and feels like they can't do it, I would just suggest like maybe doing it slowly. For me, like before I even started eating keto and I was just tracking all the time, I just slowly stopped tracking. And if that just meant like tracking my breakfast and then not tracking my lunch and dinner, or like tracking my breakfast and lunch and then not tracking my dinner, just like trying to get out of like the mindset of like I have to be obsessive about this thing. I mean, it can be a slow process, and that's okay. Just being gentle with ourselves about it.
I did that same strategy. I was like, I'm just not going to track breakfast, and that was like a month of just not tracking breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's like,
totally.
I'm not going to track lunch, baby step it. And so what's your relationship with macros now? Because I really see myself as kind of living macro-free living. I don't have a macro life. How do you feel about macros?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I do have PCOS, and I feel like as somebody with PCOS, I've noticed, at least in my body, that I do better when I have lower carb days. And that's just like an intuitive thing that I feel. And it's not like I track my macros, and I don't know, but I know that I feel better when I don't eat a lot of carbs. But that being said, if I feel like eating things that like aren't keto things, like in the summer, like I love peaches or like I love watermelon, and those aren't necessarily keto friendly foods, but this is my life and I'm gonna like freaking live it. Like, I'm not gonna miss out on like eating watermelon on a summer day, and that's just how I come to keto. And I know a lot of people would disagree with that, and there's some days too where it's like I don't feel like eating watermelon, and that's okay. And like, it's not like I'm eating watermelon every day, but it's like a balance for me, and I just can't be super strict about it. I just don't want to. I want to live my life and enjoy the things that I really enjoy. For me, I do have like I don't eat sugar. Like, I eat fruit sugar, but I don't eat like sugar in chocolate or candy, and that's a pretty strict thing that I try to stay to, and just because it works better for me. I found that like even trying to eat that in moderation once in a while definitely doesn't work, and a lot of people like feel like it's better if they can eat sugar in moderation, and I totally get that because most people are like that, but for me it's just better if I don't. And so everybody's different, and I would just say like you have to, for me it's been like such a long journey of